Just so you know, there's a little button on the back of that one. There's the ones on the ends, the buttons on the front, and these have the button on the back. So all you gotta do is press that down until it turns green. If you want, you can turn. Got a green light there? You want to check them?
All systems go.
Okay. That's one way to do it. Anyways, everybody here doing okay? Did you get some food? Some refreshments in there?
Yes,
All right. You're welcome. And so glad that you're here. And I think since I see some flags here. I think it reminds me that we need to pay honor to the flag and say the pledge. Do we have any other military people that would like to lead us in the pledge, or at least start us off?
I'm a veteran.
Okay, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you like, we can even do start the national anthem together. I can get it started. I've done it a few times.
It won't be beautiful.
I need all folks I can get.
So, anyway, feel free to, if you want, you can stand back up and we'll sing the national anthem together. Hopefully you remember the words. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, through our stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, as the rocket's red glare, love on thirsty air, gave through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, save us that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. God bless you and Merritt. Not too bad for someone. Again, thank you for being here. And sorry about short notice and didn't get all the people that we want, but you know what? All the important people are here. Sitting up here. So I think we'll just go ahead and get started and go from the alphabet. So we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Hayden Boyles. So feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself. And you got it rolling? All right. It's rolling. So feel free to, I was going to give each of you, 4 minutes? 4 minutes?
Let's do 2.
You just 2 minutes? I'm flexible because obviously I need to be flexible. So 2 minutes is good enough to say what you know. Okay, all right. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Excellent rendition, by the way. I sung very quietly next to you so that your voice was sharp. Clearly, my talent was no match. Good evening, everybody. Good to see a lot of very familiar faces in the group this evening. I am Hayden Boyles. running for House District 3. So just very briefly, North Florida, born and raised, actually Baker High School graduate. Met and married my high school sweetheart, and we've been together ever since. So I have degrees in civil engineering and law. We started a law practice back in the day, ended up opening up a title company, and then ultimately went to the trash business. And so at my core, at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a businessman. Also had the privilege of serving for 12 years on the county commission over in Okaloosa County. We've got a lot of really good stuff done, a lot of infrastructure, kept taxes low, and so proud of the record over there. Finished up my third term. My wife said that I was term limited out on the county commission, and so it was off to other endeavors. I bought a mountain bike and was going to ride off into the sunset, and then obviously musical chair started with this seat. I'm 41 years old. Just really have a passion for public service, and still felt like I had a little bit to give, and so I'm excited to be in the race, and have enjoyed the process of working, friendly but competitively with my fellow candidates. Really getting to see and meet and talk to constituents here in District 3. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hayden Hudson.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody being here. As Nathan said, a lot of familiar faces, and I want to thank everybody up here for the opportunity and for everybody being cordial during this campaign. It's very important that we all discuss the issues and just let people know what's this district is facing. A little bit about me. My name's Hayden Hudson. I'm running for House District 3. My family is from Jay. My family came to Jay in 1907, still in land up there. I was born in Pensacola, raised in Navarre my whole life, graduated from high school in 2015. Undergrad at the University of Florida with a degree in finance with a minor in real estate, class of 2018, and then University of Miami School of Law, class of 2021. I've been a member of the Florida Bar since September of 2021, and since then I have been a prosecutor at this Office of State Attorney here in Milton, prosecuting felony cases. Ultimately, why I'm running in this race, I have a passion for public service. I've been serving this community for the past 3.5 years as a prosecutor, and I feel that I have a unique vision to bring to Tallahassee to represent Santa Rosa and North Okaloosa counties.
Rena McQuiag.
I have to stand up. Hello, I'm Rena McQuiag for District 3. I'm a 12-year registered nurse. I worked mostly in higher levels of care like the PCU or CDU and hospital level. I'm the first female president of the Republican Club of Okaloosa County, which is the oldest club around here. It's 45 years old. I'm also a veteran of the United States Air Force. I've been doing community service for a total of 35 years, and for the last 5 years I've been doing service to the Republican Party of Florida, and more importantly, the Republicans of Florida. I started that journey because of the COVID epidemic. I protested COVID out at my workplace, which was Sacred Heart in Destin, and then I followed that up with going to Tallahassee with a bus full of people from the Panhandle to protest there, and obviously we won that battle. In addition, I do support my Governor Ron DeSantis and my president, and pretty much everybody can say that, but when I say it, I actually mean it. I do show up when Ron DeSantis comes here. I was there when he signed the medical freedom bills after COVID because that was extremely important to me as a human being and as a registered nurse. I also showed up at the inauguration of Donald J. Trump in Washington, D.C. in January to support my president. So the thing about me is I don't just say that I'm going to do something, I do it. I'm out in the community all the time. People come up to me and they say, I see you everywhere, who are you? Because I go to Republican events, community events, I get to know my community and all of my elected officials, and that also makes me an informed voter, which that's what I can say for you all here tonight. Thank you all for choosing to be informed voters, because obviously not many people did, and it's so important these days to be an informed voter. And I also back Republican candidates. Right now, obviously, Nathan got the endorsement from Jimmy Patronis, but we all still have to go out and vote for Jimmy Patronis by the 1st, because he's our Republican candidate. So it's so important, no matter what the I make one promise running for District 3, and that's if I get to go to Tallahassee to represent District 3, I will not be a sellout. We have too many in the House right now. Obviously, there have been a lot of problems with Governor DeSantis versus the House on immigration, and I will stand with my governor, and I will stand with the people of District 3, with my constituents, and that's the only promise that I make to you today. VoteRena.com. Thank you.
I thought it was time to take my medication. I realized it was time. Thank you. All right, we got Wade Merritt coming up.
My name is Hayden Merritt, and I'm running for the Florida House, District 3. Obviously, I live here. But at any rate, I've been in this district for almost 30 years, and I live in North Okaloosa County. And by trade, I'm a tractor mechanic, but if you want to fluff that up, I'm a technician. So, but at any rate, I'm a hardworking taxpayer, and I'm somebody that feels that the voice of the average everyday working person has not been heard. And we know as well as anything that the people that are going to vote in this election are going to be super voters, especially people that are looking for something to be gained in the political ring by their candidates, to offer something, give them something, get something, whatever it may be. Well, I'm trying to be a voice that is different, and that is to gain the voice of the hardworking people that are going to suffer the most by the things that are going to take place in Tallahassee. You know, you think about the people that work at the dollar stores, Walmart, oil changers. Those are a lot of people that it's not that they can't vote, it's they don't understand the voting process, they don't understand what's at stake, and I feel that this is a good platform, win or lose, to try to spread that message to the people within this district of what's at stake. So, you know, we're all up here. We're all supporters of a lot of things when it comes to, you know, affordable housing, to infrastructure, to bringing money back to this district. We can all agree on those things. But what we've truly got to understand is that when we go to Tallahassee, whoever that may be, I hope that's me, but when we go to Tallahassee, we really need to bring the concerns of the people of Tallahassee and not the special interest people, because that seems to be the going thing. I was on the phone all day today with Tallahassee, talking to different committee, subcommittees and things like that on something that was passionate within my own local district. And you know, I really felt that the people's voice was getting suppressed in what I was being told, that when is the opportunity for the public to speak about this? When is that opportunity? Oh, well, you should have been here 2 weeks ago and met with somebody in a room and talked to them about that. But wait a minute, isn't the subcommittee where the voice of the public should be heard? Well, no, not really. That's not happening. So those are the kind of things that's going on in Tallahassee that you probably don't realize. So I don't want to go to town in Tallahassee and rock the boat, not too hard, because that will make you'll be the one that'll lose if I go up there like a bull in a china shop and try to wreak havoc on things, because they'll punish me, and by punishing me, it punishes you. So I feel that I could go to Tallahassee and be a voice and understand the process and talk to the people the way they should be talked to, try to build bridges. I don't have to be a winner to go to Tallahassee to be the one that pushes through the most bills, that sponsors and co-sponsors. What about the man or the woman that goes to Tallahassee and builds the bridges and gets the support to get the majority vote to get those important bills passed? Because they don't just get passed on their own. There has to be some thought into it. But we also have to go, like right now with that House Bill 1118, or the Senate Bill 1118. There's some special interest people on the south end of the state trying to push that bill through. And we need somebody that's in Tallahassee right now that we don't have to be saying, hey, wait a minute, this is not what the people want. This is not what they want. We got to push back and try to be heard. Because if you're not heard, then what is the point? So anyway, my name is Wade Merritt. I'm running for the Florida House. I'm a hard-working taxpayer. I'm bringing common sense back to Tallahassee, to this district, so that we can win. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to Hayden Wells.
Check.
That's the right button.
All right. So I'm going to start a little different. Obviously, my name is Jamie Wells. I'm running for State House Representative, District 3. But I'm going to start by going down the road here, as Hayden said, we've all been cordial. Everyone here, one thing I do like to point out before I get started is that everyone you see here, whether gossip you hear out there or things you see printed, when you see us together, this is the real deal, right? In other words, you don't see nobody's bickering, nobody's finger poking. That's what professionals do when they come together. But I'm going to kind of twist a little bit to try to win some votes, especially since Hayden brought a full table over there. I'm going to work on taking 1 or 2 of those votes. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to twist it. Everybody comes up and tells why you should vote for them because they're the guy. So I'm going to twist it and say, if you're here because of any of these people here, let me tell you why you're automatically one of my guys, right? So we'll start at the end. No, I don't have the engineering degree, but I use Nathan for an example. Nathan's known in the district for helping clean and take out the district's garbage, right? For 24 years, I took out the nation's garbage, okay? Hayden takes bad guys and puts them in front of the judge. I took the nation's bad guys and let them beat their judge. I kept people like Rena employed by sending people to the nurses and the doctors. And then me and Wade, we're both country boys. Before I left the military, my family had a Jersey farm. I milked cows. I showed calves at 4-H. I ran tractors and now strong out in the field. So my point is, if there's something you like about them, then I promise you there's at least a little something you like about me. And then I will start with saying, when we talk about leadership, somebody brought up the other day, like, well, it's just an Army guy. 24 years, that was half my life when I retired. So I am a military guy. But what you don't see when you're not in the military, unless you're from there, is there's leadership depths that go beyond just being a pipe hitter. I used an example today and yesterday in a conversation of, imagine having 30 young men pitted in a building like this, safe, with fire coming from the outside. And you've got to convince those 30 men to pick up, to go out in the open against direct fire and fight and engage with the enemy. If you don't think that's leadership, you haven't seen it. You have to be able to convince those people to put their life on the line. And so I say that just to prove that when we get to Tallahassee, there's nothing or no suit in Tallahassee that's going to make me quit. I'm going to go there and fight for you, the people. Now, similar to what Wade said, and I've heard Nathan say in a video before when he did an interview, is I hear some people say, like, they're going to go and fight for you. They're going to go there and they're going to, stand up for you. Here's the thing, and even they would have to agree. If we send somebody up there that's bullheaded, that's just going to fight and go against everyone, you're going to get a seat in the basement and we're going to have no words. So we need somebody to go up there and collaborate, convince people who we are and what we're trying to represent, and then build them to our team. But if they don't, that's when we come back and let you know, hey, these are the people not working for us, and we put them out of office. So I'm Jamie Wells, 24-year Army veteran. I live here in the community. I want to serve you. I am the only candidate that said I will forego the salary for this position to give it back to the local school projects and veteran programs to show the complete transparency that I'm in it for the people, not the money. Thank you.
All in regards to who they are and a little bit more about them and what they want to do. We're going to have some questions here. One of the first questions that I have, Tallahassee is a tough place, and you guys are going to be, whoever wins is going to be a freshman. And freshmen, in my experience back in my high school days, freshmen were not really the kind of people that you went to for anything. I read if anything, they were the ones that got bullied and ignored and that sort of thing. And you mentioned fighting, so I'd actually like to know, is 2 minutes per answer pretty good for everybody?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, otherwise,
We
yeah.
don't want to bore everybody.
Yeah, you don't realize how long a 1 or 2 minute trying to fill that time. So,
Sometimes
in terms of fighting, yeah. When I saw Trump get shot and then he came up out of his little huddle of Secret Service to stick his head up and his arm up and yell, fight, fight, fight. He wasn't talking about us fighting with each other or fighting within the Republican ranks. He was talking about fighting the Democrats and especially the evil ones that had taken over our country and practically ruined it. So I guess my question that I'd like to hear from each of you about is, in terms of going to Tallahassee, what do you think that your background and skills will allow you to do as a freshman representative in Tallahassee with working with the people that are there. And I don't know how good or bad that each one of them are, but do you already have people that you know there that you can reach out to, or you just whatever you want to say in regards to when you get to Tallahassee and roll in with your box of stuff to put on the desk and walls, what are you going to do? So we'll just go down the line.
So the first thing I'm going to say is I'm glad I didn't bring my wife and all my friends tonight, since Jamie's down there trying to poach voters. I'm glad I came with a light crew tonight. Look, if I was in an actual firefight, then I want Jamie Boyles, right? Tallahassee, it's a little bit different. And so, first off, as far as relationship, yes, the reality is I have those. I think the endorsements speak for themselves. Those are given not lightly, and they're given because of deep relationships that I've built over a decade or 15 years in Northwest Florida. And those, I think, position me better than any other candidate in this race to go over there and start out of the game and be successful on day one. And I think in addition to that, you do have to have the right skills, right? And so I've said already, this is a job interview at the end of the day. And so you need to know not what we are going to do, right, but what we have done, what skills can we bring. And so the reality is that being an attorney is an advantage. Being on the county commission for 12 years is an advantage. And then my fight in Santa Rosa County on behalf of the local trash company, quite frankly, is an advantage. It was not an easy thing for us to go toe-to-toe with 5 county commissioners who absolutely were doing the wrong thing and did not want to be told that they had to do the right thing. And we did that at great personal financial risk in a very, very public fashion. And so, I've got the skill set to be able to go and work effectively with a group, but also be able to stand firm and hold the line and have the actual track record of showing how that looks in that arena. And the reality is that the weapons and the bullets are their words, and so you have to be able to use those effectively. You have to be able to articulate an argument effectively, and you have to be able to hold your ground and be forceful. And I've got that proven track record, that skill set. Thank you.
Well, like Nathan, I'm also an attorney, and I do agree with Nathan that being an attorney certainly has a lot of requisite skill sets that are pretty important in Tallahassee. Obviously, I don't have the same endorsements that Nathan does. I'm endorsed by Dr. Joe Rudman. I'm also endorsed by former State Representative Anthony Sabatini, as well as former Congressman Ted Yoho. I had the pleasure of working with Congressman Yoho for a year when I was at the University of Florida. And for those that don't know, Congressman Yoho was someone who had the courage to take on Speaker John Boehner way back in the day and run against him for Speaker of the House. Of course, Congressman Yoho lost, but he had that courage. And I think the courage of the people that have endorsed me sort of speaks for itself. For the past 3.5 years, I've been fighting in the courtroom. And it's not just about necessarily fighting or sparring, it's also about negotiation. As anybody knows, the amount of cases that the state attorney's office prosecutes compared to what actually goes to a jury trial is very, very small. I think it's something like 3% of our cases actually end up in a jury trial because most people end up entering a plea. And thankfully, with the relationships I have and that I've cultivated with defense attorneys around the community, it's really honed my negotiation skills to sort of reach that middle ground on what is the best outcome. And of course, there's sometimes when you can't reach a middle ground or the facts are such that you have to take it to a jury trial. I've had over 20 jury trials in my career. I've got several more lined up for the next coming weeks. And each of those trials has equipped me with a skill set to argue what I believe is right and what I know is right. Not only in trials, but when I'm in plea negotiations. It's very important that you are holding the right card when you're making a negotiation. And with those skill sets, I think I'm equipped to go to Tallahassee, negotiate for what's right for the district, and when needed, fight like hell to achieve it.
Jamie, neither of my 2 people can vote in District 3.
I'll focus.
You're 0 for 2. So I think what Hudson said about negotiating is key. And the one thing I can tell you about myself is that I started out in broadcast communications. I'm a great communicator. And I also have a degree in psychology, which need I say more? Having having a degree in psychology has really helped me, I think, with nursing. I find that at my job, when I've been in the hospital, anytime there's a difficult patient or that patient who wants to sign out AMA but needs an appendectomy done right now in order to assure that they live to see tomorrow. Those are the patients that they say, hey Rena, this is now your patient, because I'm a great communicator and I can negotiate with people and get them to make the right decision. And I don't consider, when I going to Tallahassee is myself battling it out with anybody else. I consider it a chance for me to use my vote and my pen to do that battling for me. Thank you.
I do. Well, let me back up that first thing. I always forget to say that I'm a veteran and that I'm also a first responder. I seem to forget the things that I do in the community. It's pointed out in a little survey we just done that he really doesn't do much in the community. That's because the things that I do in the community, I don't really take credit for it. I never think about it. It's just a day-to-day thing I do on a daily basis. So I apologize if anybody didn't know that I was doing anything in the community. But going to Tallahassee is something that neither one of us up here has really been to Tallahassee to see what happens. Throughout the years, I've had opportunities through family. I've got an aunt that was a 34-year legislator assistant in Tallahassee. My first cousin, she currently holds the keys to everybody's office in Tallahassee if you're on the house side for sure. So, but being from South Georgia, I've been in Tallahassee quite a bit throughout my life. And understanding that, again, like I said, going up there and thinking we're going to change the world, that's not what's going to happen. We have to go up and really and truly, I think I even told Nathan, on the phone one day, I think we're going to have to find out how many sugars that Chris takes in his coffee when we first get up there, because we really are going to have to find our footing, find out who we can trust. I know that, some of us have already made contacts in Tallahassee. I've made contacts in Tallahassee.
It's a Trump throwback from the inauguration.
So,
Apparently advanced
I stopped.
we'll keep going. So anyway,
extra time.
but going to Tallahassee and understand, like I say, even today, I was on the phone with subcommittee people and sending emails and sending texts. And I've been doing that way before I ever decided to run for an office. Trying to learn and trying to figure out how to help the constituents within my current district that I live in that need a voice. And being that person that understands the process, and every day is a learning process. I learned something today that I didn't know. But going forward, I'll be a little bit more empowered with the next time I go to Tallahassee for something, whether it's as a house person or just as a public person that goes to Tallahassee to try to figure out what's going on. But I know that I can understand what needs to happen. When I go into a room, I don't necessarily look at everybody that's here. I look at what's in the background, what's going on. You show me a picture, I'm not looking at the picture of the person that they took the picture of. I'm looking at the people that's in the back room, who stand over there having conversations, all of those things. Those are the things, you gotta look at the whole picture. Don't get narrow-minded and look at one thing. So going to Tallahassee, I'm going to go and be open-minded. I believe that I can make progress, and I do believe that I can take my Southern hospitality to Tallahassee, and I do believe that I can build bridges that'll help this district.
I'm going to go ahead and stick with standing up, that way I can see some of the folks in the back. So we first talked about leadership, and I talked about, the guys being in the room and convincing them to go out. Now I'll switch to something that most everyone here can relate to, in case that wasn't. When we talk about leadership again, you brought up the question, we get to Tallahassee, what's our plan? So one advantage I have is that I am 52 years old, right? So I'm not some young kid, I'm not some youth. I will be a freshman there, I'll be the new guy. But sometimes with age and personal and professional maturity comes a level of respect and understanding that those guys are also going to have. Because I'm not going in there as like some maverick swinging a sword and saying, I'm fighting I'm here to change. I'm going there and say, hey, I'm Jamie Wells. I'm the new guy from District 3. This is what I offer. And then you start, kind of like Nathan said, you start laying out your resume for some of those folks. And right away, there's gonna be some of them that are gonna like you, and they're gonna be like, oh, that can be our guy. There's gonna be some of them that are not gonna like you, and you're gonna have to work to convince them. My strengths when it comes to that is experience, life experience and leadership experience. And I won't pick on anybody up here, but I'll give an example. I've got 24 years of proven leadership from the military. I work at international level conferences that I put together with 13 other countries. There's no candidate that's in this race that's had that level of leadership. My last job for the last 2 years before I left the military, I was a senior enlisted advisor for Admiral Harris at PACOM, who was in charge of the entire Pacific Theater. To put that in perspective, the United States would only be like a part of our area of operation. So there's been people here that have worked at the county, there's some that have worked at the district, there's some that have been at the state. Okay, I've been to Congress. I've testified for the House Armed Services Committee. I worked at that international level with diplomats. So that experience matters. The other advantage I have that a lot of folks here that are on the panel do not have is in the military, every 2 to 3 years you get new leadership. So you have to continue building those relationships. Because you get used to one commander, you get used to one guy that you work with, 2 years later he gets promoted, he's gone, the next guy's in there. That's just like how it is in Tallahassee. You know, maybe Nathan has that experience on the county, I don't know how often the teams switch over. But the same thing, you got a new guy, hey, I'm Nathan Boyles, I've been running the show for a while. Now he's got a new guy, he's got to reel that guy in, right? That's part of leadership. He's had to do that. I had to do that for 24 years. So I have that experience. I'm also not so ego-driven to think I've got to be the smartest guy in the room, or I've got to be in charge. I don't care whose name goes on what bill that we push, as long as it gets going forward. It's about the cause and not the applause. And that's why I continue to say, if I fight for you, the people, is I want to go there and deliver your message and be your voice, your instrument, your weapon against the folks that are in Tallahassee and here in the district will try to stop us.
All right, thank you, guys. I kind of like hearing each of your answers. I know that I was thinking about doing different questions for different people, but I think it's only fair for some of these that we get your take on the question. I've got a question from someone here in the audience that I'm going to kind of put together your question with some thoughts that I had because I was talking to some of you in regards to the fact that Santa Rosa County voters seems like they all have issues. They all have their own issues, whether it be on their street or in their neighborhood or on 87 trying to get on 98. That would be my issue. So there's lots of issues in Santa Rosa County, and as a representative attempting to do what you can to get what we need. Now, I know we got a lot of commissioners that should be doing most of that work. So I guess I want to know in terms of any actions or any things that you think that you can do specifically for overdevelopment and in our area, or even trying to make sure that if they're going to develop anything in Santa Rosa County, that they consider all of the things that might be a problem if they develop any particular piece of land in Santa Rosa County. So, as a representative, what do you think that the representative role and what your ability in that role could be in regards to helping some of the issues in Santa Rosa County, like either overdevelopment or a lack of master planning for Santa Rosa County? And we'll just go like we've been going, so take it away, Nathan.
And I'm actually in fairness to my fellow candidates, what my work would be to move down the road, let each person start first on the question. Again, I'm happy. I just know what it's like to be at the end of the line and have someone else have already given all the answers. So I'll defer to my fellow candidates.
Well, okay, let's start at the other end then. You want to? Go ahead.
But not only that, but also.
Okay.
All right, let's start with him.
Okay.
You're gonna be last.
Not a problem.
Well, I appreciate the question. It's a very important one. I think there's a lot of things that a state legislator can do to sort of effectuate responsible growth and control the overdevelopment in a particular house district. Number one, you gotta have communication. The state legislator needs to communicate with the county commissioners in the district to understand what sort of funding is needed. One of the biggest issues in Santa Rosa County is infrastructure. Some roads are county maintained, some of those roads are state maintained. On the state roads, it is very important for the state legislator to contact the county commissioners and say, hey, what needs done? For instance, on Highway 87, the pavement is absolutely horrific. They paved it, I think, 5 or 6 years ago, and it's already in this horrible disrepair. That sort of communication saying, hey, what do you need? How can I help you? What are your constituents in the county saying? And how can we get that done? No matter where I go in this county, the number one issue people bring up is overdevelopment. There's no doubt about it. In the south end, the issue is infrastructure. People say we're developing, Highway 98 needs to be widened, or Highway 87 needs to be fixed. We don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the sewage for all of this development. In the north end, it's not so much the infrastructure as it is encroaching on farmland. And protecting farmland is truly a national security issue. If we don't have an ability to provide our own food, we don't eat, that's a problem. That is a national security issue, and something needs to be done on the state level to stop that. One thing that I've been preaching from the very beginning is a repeal of the Burke-Harris Act. Burke-Harris Act basically allows for landowners, developers, builders to sue the county if the county commissioners refuse to agree to a rezoning issue that has a future use plan. If we get rid of that and empower the local county commissioners to say no to some of these land developers and housing builders, that ultimately is going to protect our farmland. Perfect ending.
So I thought from day one that since there are a bunch of different ideas for the particular parts of District 3, that the best thing to do would be to hold town halls in the different parts with the different commissioners where the constituents could come out and speak their piece about the issues, and you would have all the elected officials there as well to gain all your information for that particular part of District 3 to be able to really fairly prioritize for District 3 what you need to take to Tallahassee. But I do think that the one thing that the entirety of District 3 can agree upon is saying no to Senate Bill 1118 and House Bill 1209, because it takes away the voice of the people as far as changing the zoning of the land. And I can tell you that as soon as Wade actually introduced me to this topic, I will give it credit where credit is due on that. But as soon as he did, I actually got on my Facebook and I noticed that Blaze and Gaglia is on the Senate committee for this exact topic, and it's in that committee right now. And I messaged him on several different posts online to let him know what my thoughts were on it. And I encourage everybody here who's part of District 3 to go online. I posted that information on my page on Facebook. It's called Republican Rena, where I post my candidate and Republican information. So if you want to see the names of the people who are on that particular Senate committee, they're listed there for you in my post, and you can contact them as well, because you don't want to lose your voice. And I know that the constituents of District 3 do not want those to pass. Thank you.
You want to go next, or you want to go next, Jamie? We'll come back this way, since you're on the end.
No problem. At least it's better than the other day, they said. The other day we did a forum, and they said, we're going to let ladies go first.
We got a Jamie, Nathan,
And they came to me, and I'm like, what about the other lady? They're like, no, you're next. How did you have to identify that? I am identified with you. So I'll keep this one short, but I think it's important. Two things, and I think everyone up here would agree, as we talk to constituents, you have to know what they want, right? And then you have to know what to go after. One of the things I will say that I have nobody out here that said we want to be the next Destin or we want to be the next Pensacola. Everyone likes the way the lifestyle is. What we have to do in order when people talk, sometimes they use trickery to say, oh, you'll hold us back. We'll lose this if we don't move forward. There's some things here that have to be maintained before we worry about moving forward or keeping up with someone. But whether it's in Jay, Navarre, here, Milton, Pace, everyone says, when I bought this land, I like looking over there and seeing open land. Now I can't even get out of the neighborhood I would go. So again, understand what they want. But when you talk about the leadership, one thing that we learned, especially in the military, is not only chain of command, but also the concern of who those leaders are. You have to empower leaders below you or leaders that are equal to you, just at a different level, to do their job. So we can't come down here brandishing like, hey, I'm a state representative, we're gonna do this. You go to them and say, this is your area, this is what you work, what's working, where can I help? And then a lot of times in leadership, if you allow the other person to feel empowered, they're more willing to want to work with you. I hate to refer to other candidates to throw their name out there. So they said once, never use another candidate's name in your mouth because it gives them attention. But I used Nathan said something the other day about the FDOT was a perfect example. He knew that guy. He could call that guy. He could get things done. But let's say if I wasn't Nathan and I'm Jamie Wells and I'm Brandis and new and I'm like, I'm going to go to FDOT and hey, we're going to do this. I'm state representative. Just shut the door and say, next please. That's what you have to know. So when you come down here with the county commissioners, with the city councils, with the people that are here, and the town hall, which has to call them constituents, you have to empower them to make the right decisions and then say, where can I help? And then if they're not doing that, that's when you try to come in and say, okay, here's what I think we need to do, and this is the support that I bring with it. But if you do that, you've got to have what they need in your hand for them to want to buy into that. And so that's what I would do with one. Got to protect the farmers' land. I was going to be short, sorry. We got to protect the farmers' land, but also what the people want. If we're not trying to be the next Vegas or Destin, then we go, okay, let's fix the infrastructure and the regular things we need so we can stay like we are, but continue to move the area that we need to operate. Thank you.
Well, I think in order to address this problem that we have, we know we got an infrastructure problem. We live in it every day. Just hang on. How about now? Sorry about that. I think we can all agree we got an infrastructure problem. The question is, what can the state do about it? Well, first thing you got to do is you got to identify why do we have a problem. Well, I think we can all agree that we have special interests and we have developers that have free reign in our district. And how do they get that free reign? Well, thank you. That's what I was going to say. And it is a part in our county commissioners that we have in the district. So we can identify that that's part of the problem. But think about something that's a major driven thing in our community. Both counties have tourist development councils. And if you read a lot of their mission statements for what they're doing, and they're collecting this dead tax, it's come down, enjoy, and just have a grand old time. Well, if you think about all these cars that we're sitting in, especially this time of year, they're from all different places. It's not us that's overburdening the infrastructure. It's a lot of the tourism that's overburdening the infrastructure. And I would like to see, from a state thing, we have a tourist state statute that is 125-0104. That is the statute in which the Tourist Development Council is able to operate within the county. Right now, none of that money that's collected on that debt tax money is able to go back into any kind of infrastructure within reason. So I would like to see going to Tallahassee and trying to get some legislation done, some legislative work, to try to get 15 or 20% of that tourist dollar to be specifically allocated back into infrastructure within the collecting district. So that is one plan to try to get money back into the district to fix an infrastructure problem. But until you fix your local problems, what you don't want is you don't want the state government to come in and take the power away from the local government. It's we, the people, that is going to have to take the power from the local government to stop the overdevelopment and the growth and the infrastructure problems that we have. Thank you.
And I think this is one of those where, frankly, experience matters. And so, not to pick on my friends in Santa Rosa County, let's say on the county commission, who maybe haven't endorsed me in this race. But let's just draw some distinctions, right? So in Okaloosa County, where I served as a commissioner for 12 years, property taxes are 37% lower than they are in Santa Rosa County. That's just a fact. Another fact is that in Okaloosa County, we don't have a sales tax on your electricity. You pay that in Santa Rosa County. Another fact is that we have $200 million of new roadway infrastructure under construction in Okaloosa County, with $150 million of that being funded, between $100 by DOT and $50 million out of private dollars. And so we're doing really meaningful projects that are getting accomplished. super infrastructure. We built a plant 10 years ago. We're under construction on a new plant now. While Santa Rosa County is still, I think, we're on like decade 3 of trying to figure out how to build their first additional sewer plant. So they're WIC dumping treated sewage into Blackboard Bay, for goodness sakes. And so I think, frankly, it's time for a little bit of a different perspective over here. And a lot of it just comes down to collaboration, understanding how the system works, understanding that Santa Rosa County Commissioner, man. Understanding how the process works, as Jamie mentioned, in DOT, you really, as a legislator, what you're signed with is a liaison. You don't go over to the legislature and say, I want to do a transportation project in my district. You understand how the TPO works, you understand how the district works, and you help to educate your commissioners who maybe are, banging their head against the wrong wall to say, hey, this is how this process works, to try and get them some momentum on how to build an infrastructure. Really quickly on the overdevelopment issue, I think we're making great progress in Okaloosa County on an overlay that will control excessive growth and push growth where it needs to go and discourage it where it doesn't need to go. You have to walk this balance between property rights. None of us want the government telling us what to do on our property, and the farmers are the same way. So you have to find ways where you can incentivize the preservation of that open space or that farmland without mandating that as the government. Thank you.
From the perspective of our federal government, obviously we've had an issue from the past regime that allowed for anywhere from 10 to 20 million people to come into our country, and they are considered illegal aliens, or they're considered undocumented people. Either way, they're here without the proper paperwork, without the permission of the government to be able to do so. And we are obviously, now that Trump is in office, and we've got good people working on trying to identify those that need to go immediately, which are the criminal elements of the illegal aliens. So there's a lot of apologize, I don't know why that's doing that.
The commissioner,
So I'm telling you, somebody's, I can think of other people that would try to sabotage me, but anyway, I truly have different feelings, obviously, about people wanting to come to the United States. I want them to come the right way. Unfortunately for some of them, they just took the opportunity that was given to them, and they got here, and they're most likely good people. I know a lot of good people like that. But what is your feelings on the immigrants that have come here illegally, and what do you think that your position in Tallahassee would be in regards to working with the Florida House in regards to our area? Because we do have a large amount of people who came here legally, and they feel strongly about it as well, but they also have family members that decided to come on over anyway, and during this past 3-4 years. And so they have mixed feelings. So they might have been Trump voters, but yet they still love their family that decided to come here when they had the chance and did it the wrong way. So how about we start with, you want to start with that? All right.
I have to stand up for this question.
We'll start in the middle this time instead of on either end.
So I stand 100% on this with Governor DeSantis on the criminalization of illegal immigration, and I can't imagine, what just happened between House of Representatives and Governor DeSantis. I was there when Governor DeSantis just had his press conference on this in Destin, and it's very surprising to know that not all of the people that are here are illegal alien or are illegals, because some of them, actually the ones who have court dates, which is about 45% of them, they're not considered illegals. They are legal to drive in the state of Florida, and we can do nothing to get rid of these people until they have an So I thought that was very interesting to note. On the day of that event, when he was here in Destin, I actually got hit by one of these people who have no insurance. They totaled a vehicle of mine that I had only bought the day before, and they are not responsible for it at all. I heard from the car lot that this is happening all the time. You all really need to check your insurance. Florida being a no-fault state, it puts that on you. The burden is on you when these people hit you. So you really need to check the numbers and make sure that you have the coverage that is going to pay for your medical care and pay to replace your vehicle for your rent cars and whatnot, because this is a huge problem in the state of Florida. And I do stand with my governor because illegal immigration brings with it so many problems. I could go on forever, to be honest. It's bringing down the healthcare system. Although some of the ones that are illegal can't get welfare, that 45% can. There are hospitals that are nearly closing because of this situation in Denver, Colorado. Americans, veterans are not getting the time care that they need, but we have illegals who are getting free care from the ER when my own mother can't go to the ER without a $500 copay, and she's an American. So it's a great unfairness. They're bringing with them drug running, gun running, human trafficking, gangs, and they're bringing into the United States diseases that we have long eradicated here that are coming back now. So do the research on it, but that's my stand. So Rena McQuiag for District 3.
Let's go to Wade this time.
Well, I think you said it in the statement, illegal. I don't know what the confusion is. If you're illegal, it's against the law. It's illegal. But it seems that there has to be this big debate about it. It's illegal. There's just no other way to do it. But the thing is that what I see from the state problem is, obviously I stand with Governor DeSantis on, trying to get the illegal aliens and the illegal immigrants and all the people out of our state that are not legally here. What I did see a problem with, though, is something that can be done on the state legislative side, is I didn't realize that a highway patrolman, if he was to pull over an illegal, he's got to be properly trained before he can transport an illegal person. An illegal person has no rights. Why do I need to be trained to transport a person that has no rights? But yet, I'm okay to transport a DUI person or anybody else or whatever, but they get special treatment and you gotta have special training to haul them. So you may have to sit and wait for a trained person to come and transport that person to a facility. So again, it's an illegal thing. They're illegal. I support it 100% to get illegals out of our state. And I think that it's easy for this district to definitely support that. And I think where I'm sure the state sees a lot of opposition is probably on the southern part of the state, where so many immigrants do a lot of the work in the fields and things like that. So while I understand the hardship, because today's youth is absolutely not going to do the job of an immigrant. I'm sorry, that's just the way we live, and that's the way society has got our young people, but I do believe that we can change that course, and I believe that we can get work ethic reinstilled in our own young people and young folks so that we don't have to depend on immigrants. So that's a whole uphill battle, but I believe we can do it.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and focus over on Wade's family since I've already got a couple off of Hayden's. I'll start with saying, since we have a few here at the table, who makes the laws or decide what the law is? Right? We know? Lawyers, right? Yeah. So once in a while, you get common sense guy who's that plain nut like myself, scratch his head and say, wait a minute, how did that even become a law? I would ask and say, why are we in that situation to begin with? Right? So, I'm only doing that because they're going last, and they'll be able to say that because we do need clarification from the lawyer, like, how did we get here? Right? So illegal, and like you said, when DeSantis was here in Niceville just a while ago, he said, to come across the border into Florida as an illegal alien, you have already committed a crime. You've already broken the law. So on that, I stand with Wade 100%. I don't understand where it's at. And then they say, well, you take it away, you're splitting families. No, that family decided to split their family when they came to Florida to begin with. Because they knew coming here was illegal. They tried to provide assistance, they got caught. Now they want to try to take away my family. No, you took your own family away. So I'm for people coming to the States. I mean, obviously, at one point we all came to the United States, but you do it the correct way. You do it the legal way. There's a process, and again, I'll throw back that way because the lawyers against that and say, there's a process, and it gets approved. And at that point, you follow those steps to come here. And Wade's right, there's certain jobs that regular guys won't go out. You're not going to get someone to go out in the field and work for $4 to $6 an hour. We have to figure that problem out. But it's not giving a waiver to everybody to say, hey, you're here illegally. We need you in the farmer field, so we're going to waive that. We've got to figure that problem. When it comes to illegals being here, that needs to be gone, and I believe the verbiage is the way we talk about it. When you change it to crisis or not an issue, you get focused at it. Because I will say, if you look now, if you look at the last regime, there was not a whole lot of focus on immigration. All of a sudden we said, stop, wait a minute, new regime, we're not doing that. Now the money's coming out, the funding's coming out, the support's coming out. That's what we need to do with other things along with illegal immigration is change the verbiage. It's not an issue, it's not kind of sidestepping what I got a few seconds. It's not an issue, it's not a problem, it's a crisis. It's something that can be catastrophic. When you change the verbiage like that, just like our president did, just like our governor did, money seems to shift to help that problem. So I would say again, if you're here legally, you shouldn't be here illegally. I'll convert to the lawyers for that part.
Well, Hayden will finish this question.
A reformed lawyer these days. I'm a trash guy. I'm lawyers, but I mean, yeah. So right, obviously illegal is illegal. Like if I sneak into the movie theater and don't pay for the ticket, and then they find me, that's not like, well, okay, you get the steak and you make it in. I was like, get your ass out of the theater, go pay your fee. And I think that's pretty clear about I think all the candidates here. Really where I would focus is the question of what can you do in the legislature, right? At the end of the day, immigration is a federal issue. So the federal government has to decide how they're going to secure our borders and then what our policy is going to be to allow folks into the country lawfully. But in the state, what we can do is not have policies that encourage our industries, quite frankly, to rely on that labor source. And we're talking a little bit about farmers. Frankly, that's not a problem in this part of the world. The type of farming we do here, I'm fairly confident there's not a lot of illegal labor on farms in Santa Rosa County. But there are some in our construction industry, and it's just a reality. And so, I'm not picking on any candidates that sit here tonight at this table because they didn't come to the table tonight. But what I will tell you is, I'm a trash company. We've over 100 employees now. We were e-verifying before e-verifying was cool because we just aren't going to hire someone who's illegal and pay them to work for our company. And we've been doing that for years. There are folks who have a track record of not doing that and who claim to employ 100 or 150 folks. And so I think that's something that's important for a voter to take a look at and say, how do you go to Tallahassee and make a policy on ensuring that we're not encouraging or incentivizing illegal immigrants to come here if you're not actually toeing the line personally day to day? And I'm going to say I am, and I'll look to find ways as a business person to create policy at the state level that disincentivizes folks to come here. If they're disincentivized to come here, then you reduce the attraction at the end of the day.
All right.
I'm going to piggyback a little bit off what Nathan said because he is absolutely correct. I do respect him and like him to do it verify. I think that's very admirable. Like you said, there was a particular candidate down at the table tonight who is a builder, and it's no secret that builders use illegal labor in their efforts. And what we need to do, we need to have something on state level that requires e-verify for every single business in the state of Florida, regardless of what industry you're in. The construction lobby, because of their source of cheap labor, and in a sense, it's exploitation of these poor people. Because, frankly, I don't like them for coming to the United States. If I was in their position, I'd probably do the same thing. But they need to come in the right way. That is the important thing. We need to have something on a state level that mandates e-verify. Right now, I believe it's if you're under 25 employees, you don't have to e-verify. Well, the way a lot of these companies get around it is that we don't have employees, we have these subcontractors or things of that nature. And that's a loophole that seriously needs to be closed. Another thing, a bill that Dr. Bill Rubin filed when he was in the State House is limiting illegal immigrants and the ability to sue for civil damages. Go a little bit of the background here. If I sneak onto somebody's property and I'm trespassing, I fall and break my leg. The property owner has no duty of care to me because I'm trespassing. I cannot sue them for breaking my leg. There should be no reason, if you're deliberately entering this country illegally and entering the state illegally, you should be allowed to sue a business here in the state of Florida for any sort of damages that you sustain.
All great answers. We are at sort of an hour of questions at this point. So I'm old, so a lot of times after drinking a lot of water, I need to take a break. Do you think now is a good time for everybody to take a break?
Yeah.
Want to take a break? All right. Let's take a break.